Chapter 1126 turned out to be an old foodie. Senior, I don't know any of these ancient characters. Please teach me. If I'm going to be able to copy more effectively, I want to be able to understand what I'm writing. I can learn something new along the way too. The old man curled his lips. I've never heard that the act of copying books having anything to do with being able to read them. Just copy the books. Hurry up and get started. If you can't finish copying these books by this afternoon, don't even think about going back to sleep. After the old man finished, he disappeared without a trace again. Yun Chujio pursed her lips, but her heart was filled with joy. This old man only said that he would not teach her. That meant that he knew how to read those ancient characters. As long as you know how to read them, he'll be able to get you to teach me sooner or later. Yun Chujio picked up the brush and started to copy the books with a defeated expression. As she copied, she started to play dirty tricks. She took out a charcoal pen and a drawing board from her storage ring. Not long after, she drew a portrait of the old man. She blew her beard and glared at him. Yun Chujio folded the drawing paper and stuffed it into the middle of a few goatskin books. Finally, when the sun had just set, Yun Chujio finished copying the goatskin book that the dry old man had given her. She stretched and shouted, "Senior! Senior, I'm done. Can I leave now?" The old man appeared out of nowhere. He picked up the book that Yun Chujio had copied and flipped through it. As he read, he ridiculed, "Hee, to be able to write such ugly words, you must be really something special. It's already flattering to say that it's a dog's handwriting. I feel that even if you get a dog to do it, it would have better handwriting. Do you have hands or claws? You wouldn't be able to write so badly just by copying the painting. Other than eating, I think you aren't able to do anything else." Yun Chujio silently muttered in her heart, "Endure, endure, I'll endure. Even Black Chicken Head can't beat this damn old man. If I were to turn hostile, it would just be looking for a beating. He'll just treat it as him scolding himself. This damned old man's handwriting was probably very ugly too. Otherwise, why wouldn't he copy the book himself? Yes, that must be the case." Yun Chujio used the mental victory method to successfully prevent herself from going crazy. Finally, the dry old man had complained enough. Only then did she wave her hand. "Scram. Come on time tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise..." Yun Chujio smiled like a flower and said, "Senior, don't worry. I'll definitely come on time tomorrow afternoon. Although I have only copied books for 2 days, I am already addicted to it. If I don't copy books for a day, I feel like I am lacking something. I can make it through a day without eating or sleeping, but I can't without copying books. If I don't copy books for a day, I feel like my life is not perfect." The corner of the dry old man's eyes twitched. This little girl was too good at lying. "Senior, to thank you for your help, what do you need? I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Old Ding's roast chicken tastes good. Do you want to try it? The skin of the roast chicken is golden, crispy on the outside, and tender on the inside, too." What? Yun Chujio was rambling on about the roast chicken when she heard the old man say, "too." She was stunned for a moment before she understood what the old man meant. Fuck, and he dares calls me a foodie. After all this time, this guy is also an old foodie. As long as there's a weakness, it's easy to deal with. I'll let you teach me the ancient characters. No problem. Senior, I have them in my storage ring. You can have them. Yun Chujio handed the 2 roasted chickens wrapped in oil paper to the old man. The old man almost snatched them greedily. Then, he felt that it was a little demeaning. He glared at Yun Chujio. "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and get lost. Come back on time tomorrow." "Senior, then I'll scram. See you tomorrow." Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. "You're just an old foodie, why are you still taking advantage of me? Just you wait, sooner or later, I'll make you reveal your true nature." The corner of the dried-up old man's eyes twitched violently. Only this little foodie could say the word scram so naturally. Chapter 1127. Birthday present. The old man almost drooled when he smelled the roasted chicken. He waved his hand at Yun Chujio. When he saw that Yun Chujio had left, he hurriedly broke off a drumstick and ate it. That's the smell. Damn old Ding. If I hadn't lost a bet with him, I would have forced him to make me a few hundred of them. Forget it, they'll save this one for later. The old man finished one roasted chicken and kept the other one into his storage ring. After the old man used a cleaning spell to clean his hands, then started to tidy up the sheepskin scroll on the desk. Suddenly, he found the drawing paper that Yun Chujio had folded. The dry old man curiously opened the drawing paper and saw the drawing was of himself. He blew at his beard and glared at it. Below it was a line of dog-like words. "This drawing is for my most respected senior. He guided me towards the light. He is the sun in my heart." The dried-up old man's beard curled up as he laughed and scolded, "This little girl is really a weirdo." The dried-up old man put away the drawing. After some thought, he took out a few pieces of paper from his storage ring and stuffed them into a sheepskin scroll. Then, he muttered to himself, "How much you can comprehend will depend on your luck." After Yun Chujio left the library, she could not wait to return to the dormitory. She had thought about Shui Wuji and Di Baiming's birthday gifts along the way back. Not long after Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory, the sound of chaotic footsteps could be heard from outside again. Yun Chujio walked out of the courtyard happily. As expected, it was Di Baiming and the others. Shui Wuji looked at Yun Chujio with disdain. "Although your courtyard is small and dilapidated, those 3 trees are not bad. Also, the young master likes that swing very much. I will reluctantly stay with you for a while." Yun Chujio smiled and said, "His Excellency, young Master Wuji, Senior Lin, Senior Nangong, please come in." After the 5 of them went in, Yun Chujio activated the isolation array. Although the fangirls stretched their necks, they could not see anything. After the 5 of them chatted for a while, Shui Wuji impatiently knocked out the 2 unlucky extras. "Little Sister Jio, happy birthday." Shui Wuji took out a big cake from his storage ring. Although it was not amazing, it looked pretty good. "Thank you, Brother Wuji." Yun Chujio smiled happily. Shui Wuji looked at Yun Chujio's smiling face and felt that the cake that 20 chefs worked hard for a month was worth it. "This is just a small gift. This is the present that I want to give you." Shui Wuji handed Yun Chujio a stack of talismans. "Little Sister Jio, there are concealment talismans, burst talismans, and 3 voice transmission talismans. In the future, if you miss me, you can send a message to me." Shui Wuji said proudly. Hearing Shui Wuji's words, Di Baiming frowned slightly but did not say anything. "Di Baiming, where's your birthday present?" Shui Wuji said in a threatening manner. He had collected these talismans for a long time, so Di Baiming's present definitely could not compare to his. Di Baiming threw out a stone from his storage ring, and then the stone grew bigger and bigger until it was as big as a door. After Di Baiming formed a seal, images started to appear on it. Yun Chu and the others appeared on the shadow rock. "Little Jio, happy 18th birthday." Then, it was the people from the Spirit Radiance sect. "Happy 18th birthday, little ancestor Yun." Then, it was the people from the Thunder sect. "Happy 18th birthday, sect master." Chapter 1128. Could it be a treasure map? The last person to appear on the shadow stone was Yun Xiaotian. "Little Jio, today is your birthday. Grandfather can't celebrate your birthday personally. You must take good care of yourself in Tianyuan Academy and cultivate well. You don't have to worry about grandfather and family. Baiming has sent people to take good care of us." Di Baiming handed Yun Chujio a lot of things. "This is a congratulatory gift from everyone." Yun Chujio's eyes reddened. "Thank you, Prince Charming." "Little Sister Jio, hurry up and light a candle and make a wish." Shui Wuji felt sour in his heart. He had lost this round again. Although his gift made Little Sister Jio smile and Di Baiming's gift made Little Sister Jio cry, Little Sister Jio would definitely like Di Baiming's gift. The 3 of them ate the cake and put away the remaining cake. They woke up Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue. The 5 of them chatted for a while before the 4 of them left. The next day at noon, Yun Chujio rushed to the library after lunch. When they reached the 8th floor of the library, the dry old man had already prepared the sheepskin scroll. Yun Chujio greeted him with a smile and began to copy the book obediently. This fellow was very good at making merry out of hardships. She treated these ancient characters as pieces of spirit stones. After she finished writing one, she felt that she had earned a spirit stone. She was immediately motivated and wrote quickly. When the old man saw it from behind, he clicked his tongue in wonder. 2 days ago, this little girl looked like she was on the verge of death when she was copying. Why was she copying so happily today? It was as if she had picked up money. Yun Chujio copied for a while and then found a few pieces of paper in the pages of the book. She looked around and saw that the old man had left without her knowing, so she secretly opened the paper. This guy thought, could it be a treasure map or something like that? Blessed people don't need to be busy. They could copy a treasure map even when they were copying books. The words that she copied were indeed spiritual stones. Yun Chujio opened the paper with anticipation and took a look. Her heart instantly turned cold. There was no map at all on it. There were only dense words on it. However, these words corresponded to some ancient characters. Could it be that the old man deliberately left this for her? Was he going to teach her ancient characters? The ancient characters recorded on the few pieces of paper did not correspond to each other one by one. There were a lot of paradoxes. One had to read those goatskin books to slowly understand the specific meaning. Although Yun Chujio had a temperamental personality and liked to be lazy and sly, she had one advantage, which was that she was focused. Once she was focused on something, she would be very focused. Therefore, she stayed in the library until the next morning. She did not notice Di Baiming and Shui Wuji sending him a voice transmission talisman. The dry old man came twice in between, but he did not disturb Yun Chujio when he saw how focused she was. He only walked to Yun Chujio's side when it was time for class in the morning and said, "Little foodie, you won't become fat in one bite. Come back tomorrow." Yun Chujio reluctantly put down the paper in her hand and thanked the old man. Only then did she leave the library and quickly ran to the classroom. This fellow was running to the classroom when he sent a message back to Di Baiming and Shui Wuji, telling them that she did not need to go to the library this afternoon. Yun Chujio had just entered the classroom and sat on her seat when she heard the exclamations of the crowd. She turned her head and saw Di Baiming and Shui Wuji walking into the classroom with Nangong Luoyue and Lin Han. Nangong Luoyue waved at Yun Chujio. "Junior Yun, Your Excellency and young Master Wuji would like to observe a class. Come over and sit here too." Chapter 1129 was all about acting. Yun Chujio walked over eagerly. The problem was that there were a total of 5 people. How were they going to divide the table between 2 people? The most reasonable allocation would be Di Baiming and Shui Wuji sharing a table, Yun Chujio and Nangong Luoyue sharing a table, and Lin Han sharing a table. Unexpectedly, after Di Baiming sat down, he said impatiently, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and sit down. Class is about to start." After Di Baiming finished speaking, he waved his sleeve and Yun Chujio, who was the closest to him, fell down on the chair. The 2 of them became deskmates. "You 2 sit at the table in front. I can just sit at my own table." Shui Wuji cursed in his heart. Damn that facial paralysis. He didn't expect that there were so many tricks up his sleeve. He actually beat him to it. At this moment, Teacher Jisha walked in and nodded slightly at Di Baiming and Shui Wuji. Class started as usual. Yun Chujio was absent-minded as Teacher Jisha had already taught her all the lessons. In addition to not sleeping last night, she was feeling drowsy. Just as she was about to fall asleep, she felt her hand being held by someone. She looked down and saw Di Baiming holding Yun Chujio's left hand with his wide sleeves. Yun Chujio's thick skin, which had been thick for thousands of years, actually turned slightly red. A song inexplicably rang in her mind. "Will you remember tomorrow? The diary you wrote yesterday. Will you still remember tomorrow? The one who used to love to cry the most." Di Baiming held Yun Chujio's small hand that was as soft as jade. His heart itched. It was all that damn Shui Wuji's fault. He was like a follower all day long. He did not have the chance to be alone with little Jio. When little Jio was resting. No matter what, he had to be alone with little Jio. It wasn't until the spirit energy class ended that Di Baiming reluctantly let go of Yun Chujio's left hand. Then, he said expressionlessly, "Shui Wuji, it's time for us to leave. Let's go and bid farewell to Dean Huangfu." Beiming thought for a moment and took out 3 upper-grade spirit tools from his storage ring and handed them to Yun Chujio and the other 2. Thank you for accompanying us, junior brothers and sisters. Thank you for your trouble. Shui Wuji also took out 3 high-grade spirit tools and gave them to the 3 of them. He also gave Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue an additional high-grade spirit tool each. You should try your best to accompany us. You should get more. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were overwhelmed by the favor and thanked him profusely. They even looked at Yun Chujio sympathetically. Young Master Wuji was obviously very dissatisfied with Junior Yun. They did not know if it would have any negative effect on her. Yun Chujio thought to herself, Wu Jie's brain sure knows how to act, so she should just act along with him. Hence, this fellow's face revealed an extremely awkward expression as he followed behind her embarrassedly. After Beiming, Shui Wuji, and Dean Huangfu bid their farewells, they left the Tianyuan Academy under the farewell of everyone. Lin Han and Nangong Luoyue were immediately surrounded by many students, asking about the details of the past 3 days and passing on the spirit tools they had obtained. Yun Chujio's side was much quieter. Those with eyes could see that the Venerable One and young Master Wuji were very dissatisfied with her. However, it was also true. It was said that Yun Chujio had been left behind by an old man from the library as a coolie these few days. She did not have time to accompany the Venerable One and young Master Wuji. She was really unlucky. Feng Ming and the other 2 found it funny when they heard the discussions of the crowd. If these people knew about the relationship between the Venerable One and young Master Wuji and little 9th junior sister, they probably would not say this. It had to be said that life was like a play. It all depended on acting. Chapter 1130 The Old, which came in the following period of time, Yun Chujio spent most of her time in the library, except for her regular classes. She was very good at using chicken feathers as a command arrow, and she never allowed the instructors in the library to deduct contribution points. She confidently claimed that she was here to help Old Man Gonba. Old Man Gonba obviously had a special status. After Yun Chujio said this, the instructor who was guarding the library let her in. Sometimes, Yun Chujio helped the old man copy books, sometimes she studied the ancient characters, and sometimes she read other books in the library. The old man turned a blind eye to this. As long as Yun Chujio gave him the roast chicken regularly, it would be fine. Master, you've been going to the library so often that you don't have time to cultivate. What will happen to the mid-year competition? In Xinlian, that little bitch's challenge order has already come into effect. In a few months, you'll have to go to the life and death arena with her. Xiao Hanio felt that he had broken his heart with this troublesome master. Little bitches kept coming out and jumping around. Sharpening the knife doesn't delay cutting the vegetables. However, what you said makes sense. It's been 2 months since I broke through to the 3rd level of the spirit sect last time. These few days, I'll work harder and try to break through again. After being struck by lightning last time, Yun Chujio had already advanced to the 3rd level of the spirit sect. However, this fellow was used to pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger and had not adjusted the level of her spiritual power, so others saw her as still at the 1st level of the spirit sect. Xiao Hanio and the other 2 looked at each other. Our perverted master is leveling up as if it's a game. It turns out that her leveling up is very regular. Once every 2 months? In the next few days, Yun Chujio and the dry old man applied for leave and began to focus on cultivation, preparing to break through again. That afternoon, Yun Chujio came to the canteen for lunch. Before she had finished eating, she heard a few students running in from outside. Another important figure has come to our academy. Important figure? Who has come? Your Eminence and young Master Wuji have come again? It's not Your Eminence and young Master Wuji. It's the lady of the Hall Master of the Temple of Immortals. And it's said that she has brought a lot of good things with her. She wants to reward students who are both excellent in their character and learning. The lady of the Temple Master has always been generous. Every time our 3 pearls of the Academy attends the flower feast, she will be rewarded with a lot of good things. However, doesn't the lady of the Temple Master rarely leave the Temple of Immortals? Why did she come to the Tianyuan Academy this time? Who knows? She probably came out to relax. I know. Yun Chujio is the daughter of the Lady of the Temple Master's old friend. The Lady of the Temple Master must be here to see Yun Chujio. Everyone's eyes were focused on Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. The old witch would not be so kind to come and see her. She must be preparing to do something again. While everyone was discussing, In Sulian walked in. Ever since she was rebuked by Xue Wuji, she had been quiet for a while. However, she soon showed off her power again. Hey! Yun Chujio, the palace mistress has asked to see you. She is waiting for you in the hall of the academy. Hurry up. If you are late, you will suffer the wrath of her. In Sulian showed a contemptuous look. She thought that Yun Chujio held a lot of weight in the palace mistress' heart. However, when she heard the palace mistress' contemptuous tone today, she immediately felt relieved. It seemed that the palace mistress was just pitying her. Yun Chujio glanced at her. I know. Although Yun Chujio said that she knew, she still ate her meal slowly and had no intention of getting up. In Sulian wanted to urge her, but she had an idea and left with a cold smile. Chapter 1131 The Old Witch Who Squandered Little Ninth Junior Sister, that In Sulian must have gone to complain. Hurry up and stop eating and chase after her. Feng Ming said worriedly. That's right, little ninth junior sister. If the palace master's wife finds out that you've been neglecting her, she'll definitely fly into a rage. Shi Xian also advised from the side. Class monitor, what Feng Ming and Shi Xian said makes sense. Hurry up and go. It's said that the palace master's wife's temper isn't too good. If she really blames you, it'll be bad. Class monitor, the hall master's wife is your big backer. If you really offend her, what will you do in the future? Yun Chujio sighed. Sometimes, it was not a good thing to be too popular. She could only put down her chopsticks and get up to leave the canteen. Everyone saw that she was still walking slowly and kept urging her. Yun Chujio thought to herself, what do you know? No matter how attentive she was to that old witch, she would still find fault with her. Yun Chujio finally wandered into the Tianyuan Academy's reception hall. The Tianyuan Academy's reception hall had a large living room and a small living room. The large living room was semi-open, and the people outside the courtyard could also see the situation inside. The small living room was the kind of enclosed courtyard that isolated outsiders from prying eyes. The hall master's wife was in the large meeting hall, so Yun Chujio could see the crowd from afar. When the onlookers saw Yun Chujio coming, they could not help but look at her meaningfully. In fact, they really wanted to express their disdain and ridicule, but because of Yun Chujio's previous valiant performance, they could only hold it in and not reveal it, afraid that Yun Chujio would be concerned about it. Yun Chujio followed the path that everyone had given her and walked to the front of the crowd. When she saw the scene in front of her, Yun Chujio's heart felt as if it was a beeping dog. What the fuck did this old witch bring all the treasures of the Temple of Immortals here? She was too cocky. She saw that the floor of the reception room was covered with a snow-white cashmere carpet. On top of it were all kinds of high-grade spirit tools and elixirs, not to mention the pastries and spirit fruits on the tables of the crowd. Yun Chujio was instantly enraged. The first thought that came to her mind was, this old hag of a prodigal family. These things will belong to me in the future. How can you give my things to others? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? No matter what, she had to ruin this matter. Even if she had to give them to them, she had to give them to her. If she were to give them to In Xinlian and those flirtatious bitches, they would be completely stupid. Yun Chujio shifted her gaze away from the treasures and started to size up the people sitting in the guest hall. Although the palace mistress was a guest, she was seated in the master's seat due to her high status. Dean Huangfu and the 4 vice deans were there to accompany her. Other than them, there were also some outstanding students from Tianyuan Academy. Sen Shu and In Sulian were also seated. When everyone saw Yun Chujio enter, their gazes naturally fell on her. In Sulian's face was filled with schadenfreude. She had already exaggerated Yun Chujio's actions and reported it to the palace mistress. Yun Chujio, just wait to be reprimanded. As expected, the palace lord's wife looked at Yun Chujio with displeasure. Little trash, little Geo girl, I heard that I sent someone to call you. You're very reluctant to come and see me. Do you have any objections to me? When everyone heard the palace lord's wife say this, they thought to themselves, Yun Chujio is going to be in trouble. This Yun Chujio is really a demon. The palace lord's wife is your biggest backer, yet you're still dawdling all the way here. Aren't you just looking for trouble? The palace master's wife is no longer protecting you. Let's see what you will do in the future. Chapter 1132. You're the one who's fucking old. Just as everyone was cursing in their hearts, they heard Yun Chujio scream. The palace master's wife was so scared that she trembled. Everyone was also so scared that they wondered if this Yun Chujio had gone crazy. Auntie, is it really you? I thought that little bitch In Sulian was lying to me. She said, there's an old man looking for me. Oh my god. This is blatant slander. You look just like my biological sister. Why are you getting old? She has always been at odds with me, so I feel that she must be lying to me. My dear aunt, why would I have any objections towards you? I simply love you to death. The palace lord's wife's face was filled with bewilderment. Aunt? Biological sister? Darling? Love her to death? The palace lord's wife felt that her brain wasn't enough. What kind of trick was this little trash playing? However, she also felt that ever since Bei Ming gave her that medicinal pill, her appearance had become even more beautiful. Bei Ming even said that the medicinal pill was given to her by the little trash. Bah! How is this possible? It must have been given to him by Bei Ming's master. In order for her to change her impression of the little trash, he lied and said that it was given by the little trash. Did he think that she was so easy to fool? Auntie, why aren't you speaking? Am I so excited that I can't speak when I see little Gio? Are these gifts all for me? Auntie, you are really too good to little Gio. No wonder ever since I arrived in the Tianyuan continent, everyone has said that Auntie, you are the noblest, kindest, and most generous fairy. You are so considerate to an old friend of mine. It is really admirable. Yun Chujio said as she shamelessly picked the most valuable thing and put it into her storage ring. Damn it, this would all belong to her in the future. She couldn't let this prodigal old hag be so smug. Obviously, the palace mistress had never met such a self-deprecating and shameless person. For a moment, she was stunned and didn't say anything. Yun Chujio took advantage of this time to collect most of the things on the ground. Only some food and spiritual fruits were left. Yun Chujio, are you shameless? Did the palace mistress say that she would give it to you? Quickly take out all the things. In Sulian couldn't hold it in any longer. The palace master's wife had said before that these things were to be rewarded to the students that she had taken good care of, and there was also a portion for her. Now, she had asked Yun Chujio to keep them all, leaving only a pile of food. Yun Chujio glanced at her. Scram to the side. My aunt hasn't settled the score with you yet. You actually called my beautiful and peerless aunt an old fellow. What do you have in mind? Previously, you tried to kill me without caring about my aunt's feelings. Now, you're slandering my aunt. Could it be that your Yin family has some evil intentions towards the Temple of Immortals? Oh right, a few days ago, you were so eager to flatter young Master Wuji. Could it be that you want to join the Blood Demon sect to deal with the Temple of Immortals? Yin Sulian was dumbfounded by Yun Chujia's scolding. She had just gone to deliver a freaking message. How did their Yin family become the most heinous sinner who wanted to go against the Temple of Immortals when it came to Yun Chujio? The onlookers were glad that they did not mock Yun Chujio. Damn it, this guy's mouth was too sharp. He had reversed the truth in such a short time. Not only did he earn a lot of money, he even brought Yin Sulian into the ditch. Yun Chujio, you're talking nonsense. When did I say that the palace master's wife is an old man? Yin Sulian said angrily with a red face. Yun Chujio pointed at Yin Sulian with one hand on her waist and scolded angrily, if you have the guts to say it, don't you have the guts to admit it? When you said it back then, there were hundreds of people listening in the canteen. You didn't just say it once, you kept saying that she is an old woman. The palace master's wife looks younger than you, but you are the one who is fucking old. Shameless. Chapter 1133 You are the person who dotes on me the most. Sulian's face flushed red as she said repeatedly in anger, No, no, you're spouting nonsense. Palace mistress, I didn't mean that. Although the palace mistress knew that Yun Chujio was pestering her, no matter who it was, they would still be unhappy if they were called old. Therefore, she kept a straight face and did not say a word. Seeing this, Xinlian quickly stood up from her seat. She bowed to the palace master's wife and said, Palace master's wife, the old man that Su Lian said just wanted to show her respect to you. She did not mean anything else. Please forgive her. The palace master's wife returned to her previous noble and elegant demeanor and waved her hand. Forget it. I know that you are all good children. It's not a big deal even if it's an unintentional mistake. Thank you very much, palace master's wife. Xinlian gave Sulian a look and the two of them returned to their seats after bowing. The palace master's wife glanced at Yun Chujio. Little Jio, you need to change your tricky personality. It was just an unintentional mistake. How did it become so serious when it came to you? When can you change your little family's habits? When everyone saw that the palace mistress treated the Yin sisters and Yun Chujio in a completely different way, they came to a conclusion. It seemed that the palace mistress did not like Yun Chujio very much. The care she gave Yun Chujio before was probably only for the sake of Yun Chujio's parents. Yun Chujio cursed the palace mistress in her heart. Childish habits? Tui. How many good things do you have to waste on a prodigal old woman like you? It seemed that if she were to marry her in the future, the key to the treasure house would have to be in her hands. If she were to put it in the hands of the old witch, she would have to show off sooner or later. Auntie, I knew that you loved me the most in this world. As the saying goes, love is deep and deep. Every word of yours is full of love for me. Also, these pastries and spiritual fruits are my favorites. I didn't expect you to remember all of them. Don't worry, I know your good intentions. I won't take it to heart. Yun Chujio said. She shamelessly picked up a spirit fruit and started munching on it. When she saw that there was an empty seat beside her, she naturally sat down. The palace master's wife was almost blinded by Yun Chujio's thick skin. If it was an ordinary lady, wouldn't she be ashamed of herself after what she said earlier? She actually had the face to eat it. But under everyone's watchful eyes, she couldn't argue that she just didn't like you and that she just didn't like you, right? The palace lord's wife took a deep breath. Little Jill girl, other things are fine, but those things, I'm not giving them to you. I'm preparing to reward those students who perform well. Hurry up and take them out, don't be naughty. When everyone heard the palace master's wife's words, they immediately turned to look at Yun Chujio. No matter how thick-skinned you were, the palace master's wife had already said it so clearly. You should at least take out the things, right? And, how can you be so stingy? Although these things aren't bad, they aren't worthy of your noble status at all. You want to reward them. Saying a few words of encouragement is a great honor to them. Hey, Xinlian, let me ask you, do you want a spiritual weapon or do you want my aunt's encouragement? Of course, Xinlian wants the palace mistress' encouragement and affirmation. Xinlian was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Of course, she wanted a spiritual weapon. But could she be honest with her words? Yun Chujio nodded. Then who, you, and all of you, do you want a spiritual weapon or my aunt's encouragement and affirmation? Yun Chujio casually pointed at the outstanding student representatives present. These people were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood, but they all said, naturally, they want to receive the hall master's wife's encouragement and affirmation. Chapter 1134 is here to stand up for Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio clapped her hands. Aunt, did you hear that? They are more willing to receive your encouragement and affirmation, so I will reluctantly accept those pieces of junk that they don't value. The hall master's wife felt a headache coming on. Initially, she thought that the students of Tianyuan Academy were the favored ones of the heavens, but now that she looked at them, they were a bunch of fucking trash. Even more trash than the little trash. You guys are just going to let her lead you by the nose like that? Can't you think of a way to refute her? Dean Huangfu saw that the hall master's wife was so angry that her expression had changed. He hurriedly tried to smooth things over and said, "Hall master's wife, what they said is right. It is our great honor for you to be able to come to our Tianyuan Academy. Why don't I get a few student representatives to showcase their results and let you appraise them?" The hall master's wife knew that Dean Huangfu was only giving her a way out, so she could only nod her head. "All right. The students of Tianyuan Academy have always been outstanding. I believe that they will not disappoint me." These student representatives naturally wanted to leave a good impression on the hall master's wife. Although the spirit weapon had been shamelessly taken by Yun Chujio as her own, it was still extremely beneficial to be able to obtain the hall master's wife's affirmation. Thus, each and every one of them scrambled to demonstrate their specialties. Some performed fist techniques, some performed sword techniques, some performed materialization of spiritual energy, and some directly took out refined pills for the palace master's wife to look at. Almost all of the students performed their specialty moves. Only one person sat as steady as a mountain and ate nonstop. Fuck, she wasn't even full from lunch just now, so she could only eat a few snacks. The palace mistress was in no mood to watch those performances. She had been thinking about how she could make Yun Chujio lose face and how she could turn the tables. She was really angry today. Not only did she not achieve her goal of coming here, but she also brought along a lot of spirit weapons. It was simply a double loss for the mistress. When the palace mistress saw Yun Chujio eating and eating, she couldn't help but say, "Little Jio, the others have all performed their specialties. You've been in school for 3 months already. Have you learned how to materialize your spirit energy?" When the crowd heard the palace mistress question, they all had complicated expressions on their faces. Could it be that they had misunderstood? In fact, the palace mistress had come to stand up for Yun Chujio? Otherwise, why would she ask Yun Chujio what she was best at? What this fellow was best at, and what he was most proud of, was the materialization of spiritual power. The palace mistress, however, misunderstood everyone's expressions. She was secretly delighted. It seemed that trash was indeed trash. Yun Chujio must not have learned how to materialize her spiritual power yet. Coincidentally, Yun Chujio had been busy cultivating these few days and did not return to the Long Wind Inn. Therefore, shopkeeper Chi did not know about Yun Chujio's heroic deeds, so the lady of the hall master naturally had no way of knowing. When Yun Chujio heard the lady of the hall master ask this question, an embarrassed expression appeared on her face. "Aunt, you still don't know me? I'm the most lazy person. I've been cultivating for 3 days and fishing for fish 2 days, and I've only learned about most of the materialization of spiritual power. It's better not to perform, lest I embarrass you." Everyone wished they could strangle her to death. "Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning for lying so blatantly?" The level of materialization of spiritual power had crushed all the low-level materialization of spiritual power in a month's time, and you're still not satisfied? The palace master's wife did not know the twists and turns in this matter. When she heard Yun Chujio say this, she felt that Yun Chujio had not learned it at all. With a sullen face, she said, "You're really disappointing. You are already lucky enough to be able to enter the Tianyuan Academy, yet you still don't know how to improve? Show me immediately. I want to see how disappointing you are. It can't be that you haven't learned it yet, right?" Chapter 1135. Please don't laugh. When everyone heard what the palace mistress said, they felt that the plot had changed again. The palace mistress' words were full of disdain and disdain. Could it be that she had asked Yun Chujio to perform the materialization of spiritual power because she really did not know about Yun Chujio's abnormal talent? Yun Chujio put down the pastry in her hand, tilted her head and said in a coquettish tone, "Aunt, it's not impossible for me to perform. If you give me a reward, I'll perform. Otherwise, I won't be embarrassed." The palace master's wife's expression was very ugly. "You can just call me the palace master's wife. I don't dare to be your aunt. I'll just let you perform. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Auntie, how can you be so fierce? Sobs obi, auntie, you don't love me anymore. Didn't you say that from now on, you would treat me like your own daughter? You even said that I was your caring little cotton-padded jacket. How did my little cotton-padded jacket turn into a tattered shirt in just a few months? Yun Chujia's tears fell one after another. The expression on her face was even more heartbroken. The palace master's wife felt that everyone was looking at her like they were looking at a stepmother. At this moment, she regretted it 1,000 times. Why did her brain go crazy at that time, telling shopkeeper Chi that Yun Chujio was her old friend's daughter? This was the stupidest thing she had ever done in her life. She had thought that the little good-for-nothing would be suppressed by jealousy because of her identity, but why did she look more smug? Now, almost everyone knew that the little rascal Yun Chujio was her old friend's daughter. If she denied it, it would be equivalent to slapping herself in the face, so she could only take it head-on. The palace mistress took a deep breath. Little Gio girl, I'm just regretting my failure. I don't mean to despise you. Hurry up and show me. If your performance is good, I'll give you a reward. The palace mistress thought to herself, this little trash probably doesn't know how to materialize spiritual power at all. Moreover, even if you do, I'll just say that it's not good enough, and you can't force me to reward you. Yun Chujio smiled brightly. I knew that Aunt dotes on me the most. I'll perform for you now, and I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. The hall master's wife was stunned by Yun Chujio's tearful smile. Why is this little girl getting more and more beautiful? It must be Bei Ming who secretly gave her the beauty pills again. No matter how beautiful she was still a little trash. Oh right, Auntie, if you perform well, what will you reward me with? I know that you have always been generous. Is it 1 million upper-grade spirit stones or an immortal item? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. The palace master's wife squeezed out a few words from between her teeth. 1 million upper-grade spirit stones. Yun Chujio instantly felt as if she had been injected with stimulants. All right, Auntie, in order to get your approval, I will definitely perform well. Everyone ridiculed, Pooey. We think that you should be doing it for the spirit stones. You miser. Just now, you had already taken so many spirit tools for yourself, yet you are still not satisfied? How greedy! Yun Chujio walked to the open space outside the courtyard and said to the palace master's wife, Auntie, the thing that my spirit energy materializes is quite extraordinary. Please take a good look. The palace master's wife snorted coldly and picked up the teacup to take a sip of tea. Then she almost choked to death on the tea. What the hell did the little rascal materialize? A needle? It actually materialized into a needle? Although the palace master's wife felt that it was beneath her dignity to laugh, she couldn't help but say, How little nine, is the thing that you materialized into a needle? Are you preparing to be a tailor? Everyone looked at the palace master's wife sympathetically. Please don't laugh. The more happy you laugh now, the more you will be slapped in the face. Chapter 1136. In Sulian, who was blamed. In Sulian felt that this was a good opportunity to make up for her mistakes, hence, she stood up and said, Palace mistress, you may not know this, but although Yun Chujio is useless, her spiritual power materialization technique is actually, still passable. In Sulian was really unwilling to praise Yun Chujio, so she could only say that it was passable. However, the palace mistress misunderstood and thought that In Sulian was mocking Yun Chujio. Following her words, she said, You're right. Although Little Nine's materialization is a little weird, she has finally learned the materialization technique. She's not too useless. In Sulian saw that the palace mistress misunderstood her meaning and quickly said, Palace mistress, I didn't mean that. I wanted to say, you don't have to say any more. I know that Little Nine's talent is limited and she doesn't want to improve. It's already not bad for her to be able to train like this. The palace mistress said with a little pride, Little trash, let's see how you will have the face to ask me for a reward later. Materializing a needle was simply too funny. After the palace mistress finished speaking, she saw that everyone had a conflicted look on their faces. She was puzzled. Could it be that Little Trash had a good relationship with people? Why did everyone have such a conflicted look on their faces? Right at this moment, Yun Chujio's clear voice was heard. Explode! That small purple needle suddenly burst out with a dazzling light. It immediately exploded like fireworks. Everyone cried out in surprise. Although they knew that Yun Chujia's physical transformation spell attack power was over 1,000, they had never seen the appearance of the small purple needle exploding. Damn, this was too shocking. The palace mistress was so shocked that she almost stood up. How could such a small needle have such astonishing attack power? From the looks of it, it seemed to be more than 1,000 points. Didn't it already reach the level of an intermediate physical transformation skill? Auntie, how is it? Isn't it beautiful? When your birthday is over, you don't need to set off fireworks anymore. Just use the little 9 thunderbolt needles that I materialized to celebrate for you. Yun Chujio hopped into the house and said proudly. The palace mistress didn't say anything for a long time. She glared fiercely at In Sulian. She couldn't even speak clearly. It made her say such embarrassing words just now. In Sulian really wanted to bang her head against the wall. It's not that I didn't want to say it, but you didn't give me a chance to say it clearly. Seeing that the palace mistress was silent, Yun Chujio said with a smile, Auntie, quickly give me 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, I performed so well, don't you want to give me more? Although the palace mistress wanted to renege on her debt, this little trash was too freakish. After learning the materialization technique for 3 months, she had already crushed all the low-grade materialization techniques. If she said that she wasn't satisfied, then she was just lying through her teeth. The palace mistress reluctantly transferred 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujio and snorted coldly, It's all right, continue to work hard. Yun Chujio made a small fortune and immediately smiled, Auntie, don't worry, I'll definitely train hard, I won't embarrass you. The palace mistress felt that Yun Chujio's smile was too annoying. She wanted to make her lose face, but now she got 1,000,000 spirit stones. It was all because of that In Sulian. Since she knew that Yun Chujio's materialization technique was so abnormal. Why didn't she stop her when she first said it? By the time the little trash was done with her performance, she had already jumped out. She still didn't understand what she was saying. What a trash. Chapter 1137 My aunt's taste is top-notch. Yun Chujio returned to her seat and crossed her legs as she continued to munch on the pastries. She felt that the palace mistress was actually not bad. She would come over every once in a while to give her some warmth. In a sense, she could be considered a good mother-in-law of Tianyuan. When the palace mistress saw that Yun Chujio was enjoying the pastries, her heart felt even more stifled. Her face was as heavy as water, and the pressure on her entire being lowered. Everyone could see that the palace master's wife was unhappy, and they finally confirmed one thing in their hearts. The palace master's wife really did not like Yun Chujio, and the care she had given her before was probably due to her pride. In Xinlian's heart moved. Although Su Lian had messed things up a little earlier, this was a great opportunity. She could not only please the palace master's wife, but she could also suppress Yun Chujio. She had to seize this opportunity. In Xinlian stood up from her seat and bowed to the palace mistress. Palace mistress, Xinlian has done something wrong. Please forgive me. The palace mistress was stunned. What did you do wrong? Some time ago, Yun Chujio and my sister had an argument. She forced my sister to kneel down in front of everyone to apologize to her. I tried to persuade her, but she refused to budge. I impulsively issued a challenge to her. 5 months later, we will compete on the life and death arena. After that, I also regretted it. I felt that I was a little impulsive at the time, but I couldn't take back what I said. Please forgive me, palace mistress. Although life and death don't matter on the life and death arena. But I will definitely show mercy when the time comes. In Xinlian said with a face full of guilt. Before the palace mistress said anything, Yun Chujio threw a piece of cake at In Xinlian. In Xinlian never thought that Yun Chujio would attack her in front of the palace master's wife. The piece of cake immediately hit her hair bun, and her carefully combed hair turned into a mess. The piece of cake that Yun Chujio threw was still sticky and stuck stubbornly to In Xinlian's hair. In Xinlian screamed and jumped up, her face full of fear. She had no idea what had happened. In Sulian, who was at the side, cursed angrily, Yun Chujio, you bitch! What are you trying to do? You actually hit my sister in front of the palace master's wife. Just you wait, I won't forgive you. I'm going to cut you into pieces. The palace master's wife looked at In Xinlian, who had disheveled hair, and In Sulian, who had no manners at all, and frowned. The In sisters used to look smart, but why did they look so stupid today? Yun Chujio looked at In Sulian indifferently. Are you done cursing? Isn't it my turn to finish? I didn't hit In Xinlian. I just felt that she was talking nonsense and wanted to use a sticky cake to cover her mouth, but I didn't throw it accurately and threw it on her hair. Such a person was not worthy to be the representative of our Tianyuan Academy's students. It was simply too embarrassing. It was fine if she had embarrassed the members of your In family, but now that she was representing our Tianyuan Academy, I really couldn't stand it anymore. What do you mean by forcing In Sulian to admit her mistake? Back then, was it In Sulian who was so shameless that she insisted on competing with me in materialization of spiritual force? Even after losing the competition, she was still so shameless that she wanted to renege on her debt. What was even more shameless was that In Xinlian actually wanted to use a challenge order to threaten me. In representing my aunt's face, why would I be afraid of you? Isn't it just a life and death arena? Let's meet again in 5 months. You don't have to say it nicely and still show mercy. In your heart, you wish you could strangle me to death. Don't you find it disgusting to say such hypocritical words? When the time comes, let's have a showdown. The one who will lose will definitely be you, In Xinlian. Because my aunt's taste is top-notch. She once said that I'm a once-in-lifetime genius, one of the top 10 people on the prodigy roll in the future. You want to compete with me? I'll torture you to death. Chapter 1138. How could she be so arrogant and domineering at this moment? The palace mistress felt that it was a small matter for her to be tricked by Yun Chujio, this little piece of trash. It seemed that this little rascal still gave her some face. This guy's words were too harsh and shameless. In Sulian and In Xinlian wanted to interrupt a few times, but Yun Chujio did not give them the chance to speak at all. She blabbered on and accused her harshly. After saying that, she asked the palace mistress with a smile, "Auntie, don't you think I'm right? Do you have good taste?" The palace mistress gaped and did not know how to answer. Admit that she had good taste. Didn't that mean that she had admitted that she was the one who said those shameless words? Deny it. She felt that what the little trash said made sense. Her taste was indeed top-notch. The palace master's wife hesitated. Yun Chujio immediately said, "My aunt is too modest. She's too embarrassed to admit that she has good taste. Why are the two of you still standing here? You're embarrassing yourself. Hurry up and get out." In Xinlian and In Sulian were so angry that they couldn't say anything. Everyone also had looks of disbelief on their faces. There was no one else who could say such things. Also, this Yun Chujio was really too daring. Wasn't she afraid that Dean Huangfu and the palace mistress would get angry at her for acting so recklessly? What kind of occasion was this? How could she be allowed to act recklessly? However, the crowd realized that not only did the palace mistress not say a word, even Dean Huangfu had a calm expression on his face, as if he hadn't seen anything. Deputy Dean In saw the In sisters being humiliated like this. He immediately shouted angrily, "Yun Chujio, you are really audacious. How can you be so rude in front of the palace master's wife? You have publicly beaten up a classmate, and your words are insolent. According to the rules of the academy, you should be expelled." Yun Chujio shrugged nonchalantly. "I didn't hit her. I just wanted to feed her a sticky cake. Besides, when did I say insolent words? Did I say something bad? Deputy Dean In, even though your In family is powerful, you can't bully people like that, right? I have a backer. My aunt is still sitting there, and you're twisting the facts to frame me. You really don't put my aunt in your eyes." No wonder In Sulian wanted to seduce young Master Wuji. So it was premeditated. Deputy Dean In flew into a rage out of humiliation. He turned around and bowed to the hall master's wife. "Hall master's wife, this Yun Chujio is mischievous and has repeatedly violated the rules of the academy. We did not punish her on account of you. However, she is becoming more and more outrageous now. She is so arrogant in front of you. You can imagine how arrogant and domineering she is usually. Today, I will expel her according to the rules of the academy. Please do not blame me. At this moment, the hall master's wife was still in a daze. Initially, she thought that Yun Chujio had ascended from the Tian Xian land. Although she was known as the daughter of an old friend of hers, she would still live in fear and trepidation in the Tian Yuan Academy. She was cowardly, but from the looks of it, not only was she not bullied, she was also living like a fish in water. Furthermore, she had repeatedly violated the academy's rules. Hadn't the Tianyuan Academy always been strict with rules? Why was she still jumping around here after repeatedly violating them? And was she still arrogant and despotic? How could a little trash of the first level of the spirit sect be arrogant and despotic? Wait a moment, shopkeeper Chi seemed to have mentioned this before, but she didn't pay too much attention to it at that time. She seemed to have said something about seniors and feathers. Deputy Dean Yin waited for a long time but still didn't see the palace mistress express her opinion. He frowned and coughed dryly. Palace mistress, what do you think? The palace mistress finally came back to her senses and asked indifferently, you said that little ninth girl has repeatedly violated the academy's rules. Who can tell me how she has violated the academy's rules? Chapter 1139 was indeed asking for a beating. Deputy Dean Yin had never thought that the wife of the hall master would have such a way of thinking. She only managed to say a few words. Yun Chujio said with disdain, all right, I'll speak for myself. With your eloquence, I don't know how you managed to get into the position of Deputy Dean. Deputy Dean Yin was so angry that he almost fainted. He gritted his teeth and stood to the side. Yun Chujio had already figured it out long ago. After all, none of the Yin family members were good people. They all wanted her dead, so what was there for her to worry about? You guys are courting death. Auntie, actually, I didn't do anything overboard. Dean Huangfu and the rest are the most fair and honest people. If I really broke the rules of the academy, would they just sit back and do nothing? It's just that I accidentally offended the lackeys of a certain evil force, so I caused a little disturbance. Erase the thing. Yun Chujio recounted her heroic deeds. In her story, she was a hero who fought against evil forces. She was full of joy and excitement. At first, the palace master's wife was still indifferent, but as she listened, her mood fluctuated along with Yun Chujio's story. She felt that Yun Chujio did a good job. Those shameless people deserved to be taught a lesson. Aunt, do you think these shameless people deserve a beating? Yun Chujio suddenly asked. The palace master's wife was still immersed in Yun Chujio's narration, so she subconsciously answered, they do deserve a beating. After saying that, the palace master's wife knew that she had fallen into Yun Chujio's trap again, but since she had already said it, she could only admit it. Yun Chujio immediately started to show off. Did you hear that? My aunt said that those people deserved a beating, and the headmaster had never said that he would expel me. Deputy Dean Yin, why are you different from the rest? Could it be that those people are really your lackeys? The veins on Deputy Dean Yin's forehead were popping up. If it were not for the fact that he had too many scruples in the academy, he would have slapped Yun Chujio to death. Even so, he still released his pressure on Yun Chujio. He wanted to make her suffer a little, but what puzzled him was that Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened and bared her teeth at him. Yun Chujio thought to herself, I'm not even afraid of the pressure of heavenly thunder, why would I be afraid of an old man like you? Deputy Dean Yin took a deep breath. Let's not talk about the past for now. What about the fact that you beat up Yin Xinlian today? Didn't I already say that? I didn't beat her up. I just wanted to feed her a sticky cake so that she wouldn't embarrass herself. I was doing it for her own good. How did it turn into beating her up? Senior Qin, Senior Bai Li, tell me, did I beat up Yin Xinlian? Yun Chujio pointed at Qin Mingzhu and Bai Li Yan. These two people were gloating over her misfortune. Yin Xinlian had lost her honor this time. The palace master's wife's impression of her had probably plummeted. If she still wanted to snatch her honor, she could dream on. When they suddenly heard Yun Chujio ask them, the two of them almost blurted out at the same time, no. Hearing the two of them say this, Deputy Dean Ian's expression became even more unsightly. However, he couldn't do anything to Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen. Although the Ian family was powerful, the Guyuan sect and Medicine King Valley weren't given to them for free. Therefore, the two of them didn't put Deputy Dean Ian in their eyes at all. Deputy Dean Ian, my aunt and two senior sisters have proven that I did not beat Ian Xinlian up. You should believe me this time, right? Aunt, it's already noon. You haven't eaten yet, right? Come, I'll treat you to a meal at the canteen. Yun Chujio, this fellow, did not know what it meant to be disliked. She immediately moved to the side of the palace master's wife with a look of deep admiration. Chapter 1140 must have been muddled with anger, although the palace mistress really wanted to slap Yun Chujio away, but in order to maintain her noble temperament, she could only suppress her displeasure and say, "I'm not hungry. I'd better look around. After all, I was also a student of Tianyuan Academy back then. Aunt, then I'll be your guide. I'm not bragging, but I've visited Tianyuan Academy all over. There's nothing I don't know." Yun Chujio instantly turned into a little guide and dragged the palace mistress by her sleeve and left. The palace mistress felt that the anger in her heart had already reached her throat. She tried her best to recite silently her temperament and her temperament. Only then did she resist the urge to kick Yun Chujio, who was constantly chattering away. Just when the palace mistress felt that she was about to explode, Yun Chujio actually let go of the palace mistress' sleeve. She said to Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen, "Senior sisters, I was bragging just now. I'm just a first-year freshman. How could I be as familiar with the academy as you two? It's better for you to introduce me to my auntie." Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen were just resentful that Yun Chujio had occupied all of the hall master's wife's attention. They did not expect that Yun Chujio would actually give them such a good opportunity. Immediately, the resentment in their hearts disappeared. They gratefully nodded at Yun Chujio and then accompanied the hall master's wife on both sides to begin the tour of Tianyuan Academy. Yun Chujio, on the other hand, had her hands behind her back. She raised her neck and followed behind the hall master's wife. She looked like a fox pretending to be a tiger. Occasionally, she would interject a few words. In order to express their gratitude to Yun Chujio, Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen did not mind. They would even go along with what she said. The spectators, who did not know the truth, immediately thought that if even Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen were trying to curry favor with Yun Chujio, it meant that Yun Chujio must have been doted on by the palace master's wife. She did not even bother to let Yun Chujio explain. She must have been afraid that she would be too tired. Dean Huangfu was half a step behind the palace master's wife to show his respect. His heart was like a kitten scratching at it. It was strange. From the looks of it, His Excellency seemed to be a couple with Yun Chujio. Young Master Wuji also liked this Yun Chujio. However, he saw that the hall master's wife did not seem to like Yun Chujio very much, so why did she still come to the academy to visit her? He did not know that the hall master's wife had originally come to see Yun Chujio as a joke. He did not expect that although Yun Chujio's spiritual power was the weakest, she was doing well in the Tianyuan Academy. Moreover, she had become the class monitor of the Huang class, and everyone responded to her. The most infuriating thing was that the Yin sisters seemed to be quite smart in the past, but in the end, they were brought into the gutter by Yun Chujio with just a few words. They were really too stupid. The dean's wife listened to Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yan's explanation absent-mindedly. She was very angry in her heart. Not only did she not see the little trash as a joke, so many spirit tools and 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones were also taken by the little rascal. She was really angered to death. However, Yin Xinlian said that in 5 months' time, when she went on the life and death arena, how could the little trash, who was only at the first level of the spirit sect, defeat Yin Xinlian, who was at the first level of the spirit saint realm? It was most likely a disaster. When the hall master's wife thought of this, she felt a little unbearable in her heart. Then she was shocked in her heart. What happened to her? Wasn't it good that the little trash died? Moreover, it was entirely her own doing. It had nothing to do with her. She must have been confused by the little trash. At this moment, Yun Chujio, who was following behind, suddenly remembered something very important. Damn it, she had come out in such a hurry just now. There were still many pastries and spiritual fruits left in the living room, so they could all be stored in her storage ring. Those were all her family's things. This old witch was really a prodigal. Chapter 1141 couldn't be wasted at all. The hallmaster's wife paid a symbolic visit to a few places before bidding her farewell. Dean Huangfu tried to persuade her to stay, but when he saw that the hallmaster's wife had already made up her mind, he gave up. Everyone escorted the hallmaster's wife to the main entrance of the Tianyuan Academy. The hallmaster's wife boarded her flying spirit tool. Yun Chujio waved her claws and shouted, "Andy, goodbye. I'll miss you. I love you." The hallmaster's wife staggered. This little lunatic was really too shameless. The hallmaster's wife did not know what she was thinking either. She turned her head and said to Yun Chujio with a straight face, "Cultivate well so that you won't be unable to come down from the life and death arena." Yun Chujio was stunned. A series of words suddenly flashed through her mind. The prodigal son would not change for the gold when he returned, and the sincerity would open up the gold and stone. Where there was a will, there would be a way. There was nothing difficult in the world, but only those who had a heart would do it. But damn it, was the old witch concerned about her? Wasn't this too shocking? Yun Chujio was about to express her excitement when the hallmaster's wife's flying spirit tool had already flown far away. Yun Chujio waved her claws symbolically and then quickly rushed into Tianyuan Academy, sprinting all the way. Everyone looked puzzled. Was Yun Chujio feeling anxious internally? Why did she run so fast? Yun Chujio ran all the way to the living room. The odd-job workers in the academy did not receive any notice, so they did not clean up. This guy put all the spirit fruits and pastries into his storage ring. He did not even let go of the snow cashmere carpet on the ground. Curly Ba also put it into his storage ring. Dean Huangfu and the others who arrived later twitched their eyes. There was no one else who was so greedy. Yun Chujio was not embarrassed at all when she was caught in the act. She even boasted shamelessly, "It's not right to waste money. I've always had the virtue of being frugal since I was young." Everyone. When Yun Chujio was so beautiful, she felt that the sky was getting dark. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that she was going to be struck again? When she came out of the room, she raised her head and saw that dark clouds had indeed started to gather. The sky quickly darkened, and the pressure of the clouds also became more and more severe. Wu Yun's face twitched. Yun Chujio's face immediately twitched. "Dean, it looks like I'm going to be struck by lightning again. You have to help me or else my life will be over." Dean Huangfu naturally understood the hidden meaning in Yun Chujio's words, so he said, "Come to my courtyard. I'll help you carry a few strikes." Dean Huangfu then said to the others, "Right, the power of the heavenly lightning is too great. To prevent accidents, don't go near my courtyard." Ever since the last time they saw Deputy Dean Yin being struck by the heavenly lightning, they didn't dare to get too close without Dean Huangfu's permission. They were afraid that they would also be accidentally injured by the unreliable heavenly lightning. Although Deputy Dean Yin was severely struck last time, he still felt that there was something fishy going on, so he stood not far away from Dean Huangfu's courtyard to watch. Dean Huangfu brought Yun Chujio into the courtyard and activated the isolation array. Yun Chujio looked at the restored ground and said apologetically, "Dean, I'm really sorry. I'm afraid your courtyard will suffer again today." Dean Huangfu smiled bitterly. "As long as you don't destroy my house. Although you have a special constitution, it's still better to be careful." Yun Chujio nodded. She said indifferently, "Dean, don't worry. Although this heavenly thunder seems to be quite powerful, it's actually nothing much. By the way, didn't the roasted spirit potato last time taste very good? I'll roast a few more for you today to compensate for the loss of your courtyard." Chapter 1142, Little 9 Roasted Spirit Potatoes. Dean Huangfu's face stiffened as he thought to himself, "As the esteemed dean, I am only worth a few roasted spirit potatoes. All right, the taste of the heavenly lightning roasted spirit potatoes is quite delicious." At this moment, the sky turned even darker. Fortunately, the people of the Tianyuan Academy already had the experience from last time and knew that the heavenly lightning was here to strike Yun Chujio, so they didn't panic too much. However, the hall master's wife on the flying spirit tool didn't know. Not long after they flew out, they discovered several dark clouds gathering in the direction of the Tianyuan Academy. Their hearts were shocked. What was going on? Could it be that a unique treasure had appeared? Or a strange beast had appeared? Or could it be that these heavenly lightning were sent by the Tiandao to kill the little trash? Such a thick layer of clouds contained at least several hundred heavenly lightning bolts. The little trash was probably going to die. Although that little good-for-nothing was not likable, it was still a pity for her to die just like that. Forget it. No one could save the person that Tiandao wanted to kill. She could only blame her own bad luck. Thinking of this, the lady of the hall master took out the voice transmission talisman. Old Chi, this heavenly lightning bolt is most likely to strike Yun Chujio. She definitely won't survive. After this, you should inquire about the news and help deal with the aftermath. After receiving the voice transmission talisman from the lady of the hall master, shopkeeper Chi started to have some doubts in his heart. Could it be that the lady of the hall master didn't know that the heavenly lightning didn't strike Yun Chujio to death last time? Forget it, he wasn't too clear about what happened last time either. It would be better to wait for this incident to be over before reporting to the lady of the hall master. Boom, boom. At this moment, several heavenly lightning bolts had already struck down towards Yun Chujio. This time, Wu Yun was the same Wu Yun who had struck Yun Chujio previously. After learning from the previous experience, he had struck Yun Chujio fiercely, as if he wouldn't stop until Yun Chujio was dead. Dean Huangfu's brows were tightly knitted. Although he had already witnessed Yun Chujio's abnormal physique last time, the lightning this time was clearly more powerful than the previous one. Could she withstand it? On the other hand, Yun Chujio looked carefree. There was a handkerchief tied to her head, and she kept picking up a few pieces of spiritual potatoes. She even muttered, "Oh, this spiritual potato is too late. It's a little too hot. This one is roasted just right." The fragrance has already come out. Dean Huangfu heard Yun Chujio's muttering in the midst of the thunder, and he immediately felt that his worries were unnecessary. This girl was really bold. No wonder she dared to go against Dean Haoyu. She wasn't even afraid of the heavenly thunder, so why should she be afraid of him? This little girl's future achievements would definitely not be inferior to that of His Excellency and young Master Wuji. That old fellow in the library would not let a little girl copy books for no reason. He was afraid that she had other plans. Dean Huangfu suddenly thought of a problem. The heavenly thunder would not strike Yun Chujio for no reason. Could it be that it struck her because she had broken through? Dean Huangfu shook his head again. It shouldn't be. Her current spiritual power was still at the first level of the spirit sect. If she had broken through, why didn't her spiritual power level change? Besides, who would break through once every 2 months? That was too abnormal. Then why did the heavenly lightning strike her so frequently? Was it just to kill her in a hurry? Just as Dean Huangfu was thinking about it, he saw Yun Chujio fly out of the pit while the heavenly lightning struck. She threw a few roasted spirit potatoes to him and said, "Dean, you'll get struck in another pit so that I can hide from the others later." Dean Huangfu took the roasted spirit potatoes with a dumbfounded look on his face. Then he watched Yun Chujio get struck by lightning while eating the roasted spirit potatoes. Chapter 1143 Roasting Spiritual Potatoes. After more than 2 hours, other than 2 deep pits on the ground, Yun Chujio was not only unharmed, but she had also roasted a pile of spiritual potatoes. Wu Yun in the sky was trembling with anger. This was too much. This was too much. How could such a perverted little monster appear in the Tianyuan continent? Last time, they did not kill her and thought that they had underestimated their enemy. However, this time, they had already used all their strength. Why was it that they still could not kill her? Wu Yun was naturally unwilling to give up, and lightning struck down one after another. The 3 malefic stars in Yun Chujio's body hadn't eaten their fill last time, and now they were letting out Huan Er's swallowing of the lightning spiritual force that was continuously surging into Yun Chujio's body. The black bead was especially like a black hole that couldn't be filled. It always looked like it was starving to death. Although the lightning spiritual force was very violent, Yun Chujia's tendons and meridians had already become very strong after several times of washing. Therefore, although these lightning strikes were fierce and earth-shattering, to Yun Chujio, it was just a mobile power source to replenish the lightning spiritual force. 6 hours had passed, but Yun Chujio was still unharmed. This fellow felt that roasting the spiritual potato was not difficult anymore. He took out a snow rabbit and started to roast it. He used his body to block the heat and had a great time. Wu Yun was so angry that he was about to cry. Wu, the baby had never met such a pervert. He was so angry that he was going to die. Deputy Dean Yin, who was standing outside the courtyard, initially stood quite far away. However, when he saw that there was nothing much going on, and he was really curious about what was happening in the courtyard, he subconsciously got closer and closer to the courtyard. Wu Yun, who was in the sky, clearly had a good memory. Damn it, it was this person who had insisted on staying so close to the child that he owed him. He was accidentally struck by them, and in the end, they were all punished. Today, he shamelessly came forward again. This was a blatant provocation. Damn it, if we can't kill the little pervert, why can't we kill you? Deputy Dean Yin was stretching his neck to look into the courtyard when several bolts of heavenly lightning struck down on him. Deputy Dean Yin's mood was like that of a mad dog. Was there something wrong with these heavenly lightning bolts? Why are they always striking him? Deputy Dean Yin had learned his lesson from last time. After using his spiritual energy barrier to block the lightning bolts, he ran all the way. In any case, these lightning bolts were coming for Yun Chujio. As he was a little further away from the courtyard, he reckoned that they wouldn't chase after him anymore. Clearly, Deputy Dean Yin had underestimated the wrath of the lightning bolts. A piece of dark cloud chased closely behind him. It struck Deputy Dean Yin until he vomited blood and fell to the ground. Only then did it float back to the top of Dean Huangfu's courtyard. The dark clouds discussed among themselves. In any case, they wouldn't be able to kill this little pervert today. Let's call it a day. Yun Chujio saw that the dark clouds had stopped striking and looked like they were going to float away. She hurriedly shouted, "Hey, don't go. Just strike a little longer." Wu Yun was so angry that he was trembling. This was the first time he had met someone who asked them to strike a little longer. This person wasn't even human. He was just a pervert. I'll sing a song for you guys. It's specially written for you guys. You guys will be very touched after listening to my song. After you're done, you can stay for a while longer. You're the most beautiful cloud in the sky. You asked me to keep you with all my heart. You're the most beautiful cloud in my heart. Why didn't I let you stay? After listening to Yun Chujia's song, not only did Wu Yun not stay, she ran even faster. Damn it, this little pervert must be up to no good. Why did she keep them here? Who knows, there might still be some bad tricks waiting for us. They should just run away quickly. The next mission to split her up should be up to them. They would never want to see this little pervert again. Chapter 1144. Leaning against a big tree to enjoy the shade, Dean Huangfu held the roasted spiritual potato in his hand with a dumbfounded look on his face. Why was it sung? Why did the dark clouds look like they were fleeing in panic? Was it the other way around? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be Yun Chujio who was afraid of the dark clouds. Why did he feel that it was Wu Yun who was afraid of Yun Chujio now? It was chaos. It was all chaotic. Just as Dean Huangfu was in a daze, he heard Yun Chujio sigh and say, "Sigh. Why did you leave just like that? These irresponsible heavenly lightning bolts, why don't you let me break through before leaving?" Dean Huangfu stood up immediately. "What did you say? Are you saying that you're going to break through?" Yun Chujio glanced at Dean Huangfu. "Yes, if I wasn't going to break through, why would these heavenly lightning bolts strike me?" Dean Huangfu felt that Yun Chujio was looking at him as if he was an idiot. Yun Chujio continued, "I've only broken through one level. Are you kidding me? I've been looking forward to this for a long time, but you only let me break through one level. This is too much. A bad review. I must get a bad review." Dean Huangfu felt that his brain wasn't enough. What did she mean by only breaking through one level? Normally, breaking through one layer meant breaking through one layer, right? From what you said, you would only be satisfied if you broke through several layers at once. Moreover, you said that you had broken through, so why did I look at your spirit energy level and see that it was still at the first layer of the spirit sect? That Yun Chujiu, you said that you only broke through one layer? Why is your spirit energy level still at the first layer of the spirit sect? Dean Huangfu couldn't hold it in any longer. Yun Chujiu was a shrewd person. Her words just now seemed to say that she was blabbering, but in reality she was doing it on purpose. After such a long period of contact, she felt that Dean Huangfu wasn't a bad person. If she wanted to gain a foothold in the Tianyuan Academy and be able to contend with Deputy Dean Yin, she could only do so by obtaining Dean Huangfu's protection. If she wanted to obtain Dean Huangfu's protection, she first had to display her value and strength. Her value had already been more or less displayed. Firstly, there was a conflict between Dean Huangfu and Deputy Dean Yin. Dean Huangfu had already used her hands to get rid of several of Deputy Dean Yin's lackeys. Secondly, the performance of the pretty boy and black chicken head the last time, Dean Huangfu would definitely reevaluate her value. Now, she had to properly display her strength and once again consolidate the degree of importance he placed on her. In the future, it would be easier for her to rely on a big tree for shade. Other than being thick-skinned, Yun Chujia's biggest advantage was that she was able to climb up smoothly. In her previous life, she had also relied on these two methods to climb up to the position of a top agent in the organization. In the words of her good friend, Yun Chi, she had simply tricked her into becoming a top agent. After Yun Chujio had made up her mind, she began to adjust her spiritual power level. Dean Huangfu watched as Yun Chujia's spiritual power level slowly rose from the first level of the spirit sect all the way to the fourth level of the spirit sect. Dean Huangfu rubbed his eyes and pinched himself again. It hurt so much that he grinned. It seemed like it was true, but it was strange. How could he not see that Yun Chujio was hiding her cultivation with his cultivation? Could it be that she had some immortal artifact that hid her cultivation? Dean, to be honest, my body is a little special. If I didn't wear this hidden spirit ring, I wouldn't have any spiritual power fluctuations on me. In the fourth round of the entrance exam, it was because I didn't have any spiritual power fluctuations on me that I successfully obtained the Jade token. Yun Chujio knew that in order to gain the trust of others, she had to show her sincerity. Unintentionally revealing her trump card was the greatest sincerity. Cough cough. Fortunately, she had enough trump cards, so there was no harm in revealing one or two of them. There was such a good place in chapter 1145 in order to prove that what she said was true. Yun Chujio put away the hidden spirit ring. As expected, there was no spiritual energy fluctuation on her body at all. Dean Huangfu couldn't help but click his tongue in wonder. He had never heard that the heavenly thunder spirit root had such a strange attribute. This Yun Chujia's physique was very special. Wait, that wasn't right. The fourth level of the spirit sect? She had entered the school at the first level of the spirit sect. Didn't that mean that she had risen 2 levels after being struck by lightning last time? No wonder she had scolded the heavenly lightning for being irresponsible just now. It turned out that this guy had risen 2 levels in one go? That, Yun Chujio, you rose 2 levels after being struck by lightning last time? That's right. It's all because of this damn heavenly lightning being irresponsible. If it had been struck for another 4 hours, perhaps I would have risen another level. How detestable! Yun Chujio puffed her cheeks and said angrily. Dean Huangfu only had one thought in his mind at this moment. You really aren't satisfied. What else do you want to do if you want to level up in 2 months? Yun Chujio counted with her fingers and said, if we calculate according to the calculation of 2 levels in 2 months, when that little bitch Yin Xinlian and I are on the life and death arena, I will almost be able to break through to the first level of the Spirit Saint realm. This is great. This damn heavenly lightning has really set me up. I have to think of another way to speed up my level up. Dean Huangfu thought that he was knowledgeable, but he still felt that his brain was not enough when he met a weirdo like Yun Chujio. He asked almost subconsciously, "What other way are you going to think of?" Yun Chujio giggled. "Dean, I was just about to ask you for advice. You are knowledgeable and knowledgeable. Help me think of a way. You can't just watch me go to the life and death arena to die, right?" Dean Huangfu felt that he really owed his son. Why would he ask such a stupid question? It was obvious that this fellow was made of sticky candy. He might not be able to get rid of it once it was stuck to him. How can there be a shortcut to cultivation? If you advance too quickly and your foundation is unstable, you will have inner demons. You should just focus on your cultivation. As for the life and death platform, if it really doesn't work, you can just think of a way to delay it. After all, you have plenty of bad ideas, Dean Huangfu said unhappily. Dean, you've eaten quite a few roasted spiritual potatoes of mine. Are you just going to brush me off like that? It's really too heartbreaking. After Yun Chujio finished speaking, she sat down on the ground and wiped her tears away. This fellow was cursing in his heart. "You old fox, I don't believe that you have no idea what to do." When Yun Chujio cried like that, Dean Huangfu felt like he was an unpardonable evil person. He gritted his teeth and said, "Enough. Stop crying. If you can endure the pain, it's not impossible." Yun Chujio's eyes lit up, and the fellow immediately broke into a smile. "Isn't it just a little pain? Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Dean, please tell me. What is the solution? If you want to break through quickly in a short period of time, you have to break through your own limits. Tianyuan Academy has a trial tower, and the demon beasts and environment inside are all illusory formations. Although they won't cause real harm to people, the various kinds of pain are no different from real feelings." Yun Chujio immediately jumped up from the ground. "There is such a good place in our academy? Why didn't I know about it?" Dean Huangfu glanced at her. "Don't be happy too early. Because the demonic beasts inside are extremely savage and the environment is extremely harsh, only spirit saints would dare to enter the first level. Furthermore, without the spirit energy of the fourth level of the spirit saint realm, it is impossible for one to pass the first level. It is just to increase one's actual combat experience." Chapter 1146, I am the most low-key. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. "So what if it's dangerous? I won't really lose my life anyway. Where is this trial tower? You specially gave me 8 to 10 days of leave. I'll go and challenge it." "The trial tower is behind the Tianyuan Academy's library. It just so happens that it's closed tomorrow. You should go first. If you still don't come out in 3 days, it'll help you ask for leave from your teacher." Dean Huangfu said, 10 days or 8 days. This Yun Chujio really didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. With her level of spiritual power, she probably couldn't even last a quarter of an hour. However, he had better not tell her the truth so that she wouldn't pester him again. He had to get rid of this little rascal first. Although Yun Chujio was shrewd, she still couldn't see through the old fox's thoughts. She immediately expressed her gratitude. Dean Huangfu touched his nose guiltily. He hurriedly changed the topic. "Well, since Wu Yun has already drifted away, I'll open the isolation array. The way I said it is the same as last time. Oh right, it seems that a piece of Wu Yun has drifted away just now. I don't know which unlucky person it struck. Dean, please wait a moment. I'll transfer my spirit energy back to the first level of the spirit sect before you open the isolation array. I'm a person who keeps a low profile the most. It's best not to agitate others." Yun Chujio said with a smile. The corner of Dean Huangfu's eyes twitched. "Forget it. Are you pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger to cheat others?" Dean Huangfu opened the isolation array while cursing in his heart. At this time, the surrounding people also gathered around. Dean Huangfu asked, "Who was struck by the heavenly lightning just now?" Deputy Dean Jiang held back his laughter and said, "Dean, the heavenly lightning struck Deputy Dean Yin just now. Look, isn't he meditating over there?" Dean Huangfu looked in the direction where Deputy Dean Jiang was pointing and saw that Deputy Dean Yin was seriously injured again. His clothes were covered in blood and he was recuperating. Dean Huangfu couldn't help but gloat in his heart. This Yun Chujio was really Yin Haoyu's nemesis. The heavenly lightning was supposed to strike her, but why did it strike In Haoyu every time? It was really funny. Yun Chujio also saw In Haoyu's miserable state. She said in surprise, "Aya, what's going on? Isn't the heavenly lightning supposed to strike me? Why does it strike Deputy Dean In every time? Could it be that he did something bad, so the heavenly lightning conveniently punished him on behalf of the heavens?" Although Deputy Dean In was seriously injured, his hearing was still pretty good. He heard Yun Chujio's words clearly and was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood. "Yun Chujio, you bitch." Initially, he wanted to let Xinlian kill you on the life and death arena, but you provoked him again and again. He really couldn't stand it anymore. "He'll find an opportunity to kill you." Io, Deputy Dean In spat out blood again. "Is he going to die? This person can't do anything shameful. God's eyes are bright and clear. He can take care of the evil people at the same time." Yun Chujio said with a smile. Deputy Dean In was so angry that he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted on the ground. In Xinlian and the others quickly fed Deputy Dean In pills and finally woke him up. The first thing Deputy Dean In said when he woke up was, "Help me back to my courtyard immediately." He felt that if he was still here, he would definitely be angered by Yun Chujio until he vomited blood again. "Stupid girl, just you wait, I won't forgive you." The hearts of the bystanders trembled. Damn it, this Yun Chujio could make Deputy Dean In so angry just by talking? It was better for them to not provoke her in the future. Although her spiritual power was useless, her words were too overbearing. They could not afford to offend her and could only hide. Chapter 1147. Yun Chujio sneaked in the next morning. Yun Chujio hopped out of the dormitory. After bypassing the library, there was indeed a pitch-black 9-story pagoda standing there. At the door was a teacher who was yawning and dozing off. "Teacher, I want to enter the trial tower. How does it work?" The teacher sized up Yun Chujio, thinking that he had heard wrong. "What did you say?" "I want to quickly raise my cultivation level. The dean has asked me to enter the trial tower. Please tell me how to enter the trial tower." "Want to enter the trial tower? Could it be that you are making fun of me early in the morning? Only a student with the cultivation level of a spirit saint would dare to try this trial tower. Why are you, a first-level spirit sect student, causing trouble? Go and stay where you are." The teacher said impatiently. Yun Chujio explained for a while more, but the teacher still refused to give in. He thought that Yun Chujio was messing around. A first-level spirit sect student entering the trial tower? This was simply messing around. Just as Yun Chujio was at her wit's end, more and more senior students came over to enter the trial tower. They were also stunned when they saw Yun Chujio. What was this Yun Chujio doing here in the trial tower? Those students each paid 10 high-grade spirit stones, and the teacher handed each of them a jade token. Those students placed the jade token in the groove on the trial tower's door, and the trial tower's door opened. Yun Chujio was very curious, so she stood at the trial tower's door and looked inside, wanting to see what was inside. No one expected that there was a powerful suction force inside the trial tower, and Yun Chujio was forcefully sucked in. "Hey, why did you sneak in?" The teacher didn't notice it before. When he raised his head, he saw Yun Chujio rush in. He thought that Yun Chujio had snuck in by herself. Just as he was about to stop her, it was too late. The trial tower's door closed with a bang. The teacher was so anxious that he was hopping around. Cold sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. He never expected that Yun Chujio would be so daring to sneak in. What should he do? The teacher had no choice but to take out his identity jade token and send a message to Deputy Dean Xiao. Not long after, Deputy Dean Xiao, Dean Huangfu, and the others all came. What's going on? Yun Chujio entered the trial tower without permission? Deputy Dean Xiao asked anxiously. The teacher's forehead was covered in cold sweat. An hour ago, Yun Chujio said that she wanted to enter the trial tower. I think she must be messing around. Why would a first-level spirit sect enter the trial tower? I didn't expect that a few senior students would enter the trial tower after receiving the jade tokens. Yun Chujio actually sneaked in with them. By the time I wanted to stop her, it was already too late. Instructor Xiao immediately said unhappily, as the instructor guarding the trial tower, "How could you be so careless?" The trial tower was very dangerous. If there was no passage jade token, she wouldn't be able to come out. Wouldn't Yun Chujio have to die and live countless times in there? Dean Huangfu let out a long sigh. This is all my fault. If I hadn't told her that the trial tower could help her break through her cultivation bottleneck, she wouldn't have come to this trial tower. What should we do? The students who enter are all in different places. There's no way to know what's going on inside. Besides, unless the trial tower is destroyed, there's no way for her to come out. Even if we don't talk about anything else, she'll starve to death. Deputy Dean Jiang was also frowning. Chapter 1148. Someone had broken into the second level. The news of Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower quickly spread throughout the Tianyuan Academy. Although it was Sun Xiu, many people still knew that Yun Chujio had sneaked into the trial tower. Some people were extremely worried, some people had the mentality of watching a show, while others were gloating over Yun Chujio's misfortune. TSK, this Yun Chujio relied on her sharp tongue to stir up trouble. Let's see what she will do this time. What to do? She will probably die inside. This trial tower is an ancient divine artifact. Even His Excellency and young Master Wuji cannot break it. Yun Chujio will never be able to come out. When the Yin sisters heard the news, they were extremely excited. Sister, this time, Yun Chujio is dead for sure. She dared to sneak into the trial tower without knowing clearly. She is really courting death. Yin Sulian gloated. Yin Xinlian sneered. This Yun Chujio always thought that she was smart. This time, she was just waiting to spend the rest of her life in the trial tower. Moreover, she was constantly bitten to death by demonic beasts. She originally wanted to kill her on the life and death arena. It was really too easy for her. This is called retribution. Sister, Yun Chujio has already been eliminated. Now, you have to deal with Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen, the two bitches. Previously, when the palace master's wife came, they were all on Yun Chujio's side. Yin Sulian gnashed her teeth and said, "The two of them are different from Yun Chujio. Their family background is on par with ours. We have to take it slowly. Let's go and tell this good news to fourth grandfather. He will definitely be very happy." After the Yin sisters told Deputy Dean Yin about Yun Chujio sneaking into the trial tower, Deputy Dean Yin felt that half of his injuries had healed. This smelly girl was really courting death. Such a way of dying was simply too miserable. To be bitten to death repeatedly by demon beasts, then resurrected, and then bitten to death again was truly retribution. Dean Huangfu's intestines were turning green with regret at this moment. It was already useless to blame the tutor who was guarding the trial tower. Moreover, Yun Chujio took up the majority of the responsibility. This fellow was an unruly person. How could he be so mischievous to actually barge in? Dean Huangfu felt that the dumbest thing he had done was to only tell Yun Chujio about the trial tower and not tell her that she had to rely on the jade token to enter before she could come out. Dean Huangfu thought of the importance his esteemed self and young Master Wuji placed on Yun Chujio and frowned even more. If these two great Buddhas were to find out about this matter, it was likely that there would be a huge commotion. However, the matter was so important that Dean Huangfu had no choice but to privately send people to send letters to Di Baiming and Shui Wuji. Dean Huangfu was sighing and frowning when he heard the tutor who was guarding the trial tower exclaim, "Heavens! Someone has reached the second level." Dean Huangfu raised his head and saw that the second level of the trial tower had indeed lit up. However, what was so strange about it? Although the first level of the Spirit Saint Realm could not reach the second level, those above the fourth level of the Spirit Saint Realm could reach the second level. Deputy Dean Xiao also glared at the instructor unhappily. "What are you shouting for? What's so strange about entering the second level? It's not like you've reached the sixth level." "No, none of the students who entered today have exceeded the fourth level of the Holy Spirit Realm," the teacher mumbled. In his heart, he hated Yun Chujio to the core. Why did you sneak in for no reason? You've really implicated me. Although everyone felt that it was a small piece of news that someone had skipped a level and entered the second level, it was nothing compared to Yun Chujio's matter, so no one paid too much attention to it. Chapter 1149. Was Yun Chujio just as everyone was about to disperse, the people in the trial tower came out one after another. After all, the process of dying in there was too torturous. They would not be able to hold on for more than 4 hours. After they came out and heard about Yun Chujio's matter, they also discussed animatedly. We were all separated when we were teleported in, so we did not have the chance to meet each other. Otherwise, we could have brought Yun Chujio out. Who asked her to sneak in by herself? She deserved it. Yeah, this Yun Chujio is too bold. This time, she's completely finished. She won't be able to come out of the trial tower for the rest of her life. I guess she will be trapped in the first level of the trial tower for the rest of her life. After all, it's a fool's dream for her to break through to the second level with her spiritual power level. At this moment, the teacher guarding the Tower of Trials cried out in shock. Heavens! Impossible! How is this possible? Everyone looked at him in confusion, especially the few principals who felt that this teacher Mao was usually rather reliable. Why was she acting so abnormally today? Could it be that she had contracted some kind of illness? Seeing that everyone did not understand, teacher Mao stammered in excitement, "Everyone, come out. There are still people on the second level. Yun Chujio." Deputy Dean Xiao glared at him. "Why can't you even speak clearly? What do you mean?" Teacher Mao took a deep breath. After calming himself down, he said, "A total of 12 students entered today. Now that everyone has come out, but the second level of the trial tower is still lit up. This means that the person on the second level of the trial tower is Yun Chujio." Everyone immediately exploded. Impossible. This was impossible. Teacher Mao must be spouting nonsense. Only the fourth level of the Holy Spirit realm could make it to the second level of the Tower of Trials. Yun Chujio was trash from the first level of the Spirit sect. How could she make it to the second level? Could it be that there was something wrong with the Tower of Trials? Everyone felt that this was impossible. How could Yun Chujio make it to the second level? Could it be that she was bluffing? Dean Huangfu suddenly thought of Yun Chujio's abnormal talent and could not help but sigh. Such a good seedling had died trapped in this trial tower. "I am a sinner of the Tianyuan Academy." Deputy Dean Xiao muttered softly, "Actually, Yun Chujio still has a way to get out." Everyone's eyes turned to him. Dean Huangfu asked excitedly, "What way?" "If Yun Chujio passes the 9th level of the trial tower, she can be ejected out." Deputy Dean Xiao did not even have the confidence to say these words himself. In tens of thousands of years, no one had ever passed the 9th level of the trial tower. Not to mention Yun Chujio, who was at the first level of the Spirit sect. When everyone heard Deputy Dean Xiao's words, they were instantly discouraged. This possibility did not exist at all. Even a 5th-level spiritual venerable could only reach the 6th level, not to mention Yun Chujio, who was on the first level of the Spirit sect. Dean Huangfu sighed. "Everyone, there's no need to stand guard here. Go back and think of a way to save Yun Chujio." Deputy Dean Xiao and the others knew that it was useless to stand guard here. They dispersed one after another. Only teacher Mao, Feng Ming, and the others were still waiting outside the trial tower. Feng Ming and the others recalled the incident at the Azure Mystic Continent's Wuwei Tower. At that time, everyone thought that Junior Sister Yun wouldn't be able to pass the 9th level, but Junior Sister Yun had done it. They believed that she would be able to do it this time. All right. These 3 people were filled with a mysterious confidence towards Yun Chujio. Chapter 1150. Lack of intelligence. 2 hours ago, when Yun Chujio was poking her head out of the trial tower, she was sucked into the trial tower by the sudden suction force. She entered the first level of the trial tower with a dumbfounded expression. "Fuck? What's going on? I haven't received my jade token yet." Yun Chujio felt as though she was bickering with a dog. She was not stupid. Those people who entered had received their jade tokens. They must have activated their jade tokens before they could leave. A white light flashed. Yun Chujio realized that she was in a sea of water. The sea of water was bone-chilling. A thought quickly flashed through Yun Chujio's mind. Fuck, could it be that the spirit of the trial tower deliberately played a trick on her? Yun Chujio thought to herself, Qi Ling. After bringing her in and trapping her inside, she could only live and die again. She had tortured her countless times. It was simply a lack of virtue. Damn Qi Ling, don't let me catch you, or I will torture you to death. Although Yun Chujio was thinking angrily, she still activated the water repellent bead first and then floated above the sea. This guy tried the sound transmission talisman, and as expected, it didn't work at all. It was estimated that the concealment talisman and the sudden rupture talisman were also useless. Master, are we trapped in this trial tower? Xiao Hanio said anxiously from inside the spirit beast bag. Yun Chujio touched her nose. Yes, it should be like this. We were tricked by the shameless Qi Ling again. Master, if you say that, I will be very sad. You can't just knock over our Qi Ling with one hit. Mao Mauchio said aggrievedly. Forget it. You tricked me so badly back then that you almost fed me to the scorpions. Just stay away. Yun Chujio said angrily. Mao Mauchio saw that Yun Chujio had dug up the past and immediately did not dare to say anything. After all, this fellow had also tricked Yun Chujio badly back then. Master, how are we going to get out? If we don't go out, although we won't starve to death, you will die countless times. Moreover, you won't be able to see your pretty boy anymore. Xiao Hanio said. Yun Chujio touched her chin. Humph. It won't be that easy for that damn Qi Ling to torture me to death. There's only one way for us to get out of here now, and that is to get the Qi Ling out and torture it until it has nothing left to live for. Then it will naturally let us out. Xiao Hanio was about to cry. Master, although you're full of confidence and it's a good thing, aren't you overconfident? That Qi Ling must be hiding on the 9th level. But you are only at the 4th level of the spirit sect. Can you make it to the 9th level? Didn't that teacher Mu say so? Only those at the 4th level of the Spirit Saint realm can make it to the 2nd level. If you calculate, the 9th level should be the 9th level of the Spirit Paragon realm. How can you make it to the 9th level? Yun Chujio pursed her lips indifferently, then she pointed at her own head. Strength is one thing, but brains are another. Your master's strength is not enough to supplement my intelligence. Besides, I'm not really dead anyway. Let's fight. I don't believe that I can't make it to the 9th level. Master, I think you might as well let the lightning strike you. If the heavenly lightning destroys this trial tower, won't we be able to leave? It's probably going to be tough. This trial tower is obviously not a common object. It might even be a divine artifact or something. The heavenly lightning might not be able to strike it. They'll give it a try. Sure enough, Yun Chujio cursed for a long time, but there was no reaction at all. However, there was movement in the water. A huge sea beast appeared in front of them and swam quickly towards Yun Chujio. Chapter 1151. I'm really too miserable. The sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale was a 21st level sea beast. Its body was extremely tough and it had sharp teeth. It could be said to be the tyrant of the sea. The eyes of the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale were filled with contempt. Although it was a mirage beast derived from a formation, its intelligence was no different from that of an ordinary demon beast. It really could not understand why such a weak chicken would appear in this trial tower. First level of the spirit sect? Was she deliberately looking for trouble? Just as the sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale was puzzled, it saw the little girl in front of it waving her claws with a smile. Hi, Lord Whale, how are you? The sea-swallowing saber-toothed whale stared at Yun Chujio with its huge eyes. It thought to itself, this human little girl is most likely mentally ill. When people who normally come to the trial see me, they either turn around and run away, or they are prepared to fight with me. What is she trying to do? Lord Whale, I know that I can't beat you, so I won't resist. I'll tell you about my bad luck to relieve your boredom. Yun Chujio's smile immediately turned into a frown. The speed of the change of expression made the swallowing saber-toothed whale dumbfounded. Was this little weakling a color-changing cuttlefish? How did she change her expression so quickly? However, it was not bad to hear from her since she had nothing to do anyway. Lord Whale, you don't know. I originally wanted to take a look at the situation inside the trial tower, but I didn't expect to be sucked in by a huge force. I'm really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. I usually respect the elderly and love the young. I didn't do anything wicked, so why am I so unlucky? I won't be able to get out of here in this lifetime. I guess I'll have to die countless times before I can truly die. Have you ever seen someone who is even more unlucky than me? Yun Chujio said, to the point where she was sad, and she even started to cry. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was stunned when it heard that. After it heard that, it couldn't help but open its big mouth and laugh at Yun Chujio's misfortune. This little weakling was really too pitiful. It was so funny that this whale would die. A fierce look flashed across Yun Chujio's eyes. She waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles swam into the swallowing saber-toothed whale's big mouth swiftly. When the swallowing saber-toothed whale discovered it, it was already too late. Its mouth was too big. When it closed its mouth, a lot of small purple lightning bolts and small purple needles had already entered. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was instantly furious. This little weakling is really too sinister. She actually deliberately made me laugh and then tried to sneak attack me. However, you are too naive. With your weak spiritual power attack, it is impossible for it to have any effect on me. I will bite you to death right now. I will let you die countless times. The swallowing saber-toothed whale pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio smiled evilly and a large basin appeared in her hand. The black ink in it instantly dyed the seawater black. The swallowing saber-toothed whale could not see Yun Chujio's figure at all. This little weakling was really detestable. Extremely detestable. There was simply too much bad water. However, no matter how many bad ideas you had, you were so weak that you could only accept death. At this moment, the swallowing saber-toothed whale heard a clear voice shouting, "Explode! All of you explode! Blow up this stupid loach!" Just when the swallowing saber-toothed whale was wondering what Yun Chujio meant, it felt a sharp pain in its stomach. Although it looked very strong, its stomach was filled with internal organs. How could it withstand such a spiritual attack? It immediately rolled around in pain. Yun Chujio was not far away. She curled the corner of her mouth and waved her hands continuously. Several purple lightning bolts and purple needles attacked the back of the swallowing saber-toothed whale and its eyes. Chapter 1152. No blind spots. The swallowing saber-toothed whale was out of luck. It had never met such a depraved person. Moreover, why was this little weakling's spiritual power attack so abnormal? She could even control the time of the explosion. Was she really only at the first level of the spirit sect? The swallowing saber-toothed whale kept rolling in the seawater. Before the pain in its stomach eased up, its eyes and rear area were attacked again. The seawater was soon dyed red with fresh blood. Yun Chujio would not let go of such a great opportunity. She waved her hands non-stop and kept ordering the purple needles to self-destruct. As for the purple lightning, she did not even need to command it to attack the swallowing saber-toothed whale. The swallowing saber-toothed whale finally could not hold on anymore. It let out a miserable cry and floated on the sea surface with its belly turned over. Then, it disappeared and the sea water returned to its original color. Yun Chujio was wondering if she should pass when a white light flashed before her eyes. When she saw the scene in front of her, Yun Chujio wanted to strangle the weapon spirit of the trial tower to death. Yun Chujio was currently being hung on a cliff by a vine. Below it was a level 22 Vajra earth-splitting wild bear. It opened its bloody mouth wide, drooling as it waited for Yun Chujio to fall. On the cliff, a level 22 single-horned bull was gnawing on the vine. Judging from the speed of its gnawing, the vine that was hanging on Yun Chujio would break in less than 15 minutes. The worst part was that not far from the cliff, There was another level 22 poison-striped double-tailed python that was slithering towards Yun Chujio. As the saying went, it was bad enough to be attacked from both sides. Damn it, she was attacked from all angles. Yun Chujio recalled a painting she had seen in her previous life. There was a person hanging from a tree branch. The tree was about to break. There was a snake on the tree, a lion under the tree, and 2 crocodiles in the river. Damn it. Her situation was even worse than that person's. Yun Chujio's brain was working quickly. She had to make a decision quickly, or there would be no room for escape. If this place was not restricted to flying, she could easily escape. However, it was precisely restricted to flying. What should she do now? Yun Chujio estimated the distance from this place to the ground. If she jumped down, she would probably be smashed into pieces. However, if she climbed up, not only would she have to deal with a single-horned bull, but she would also have to deal with the poison-striped double-tailed python. There was no way for her to survive. The poison-striped twin-tailed python was getting closer and closer to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio could even smell the stench of the poison-striped twin-tailed python. It was not that Yun Chujio had never thought of using her spiritual power to attack, but it was impossible for her to succeed in a short period of time. It was simply a waste of time. Do I really have to die first? No, even if it's not true death, I don't want to experience the taste of death. There must be a way. Calm down, calm down. Compared to climbing up, jumping down is more advantageous. But how can I guarantee that I won't fall to my death and not be bitten to death by that earth-shattering King Kong savage bear? Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. From her storage ring, she threw down the corpse of the demon beast. The earth-shattering King Kong savage bear was stunned at first, then it thought about it. After all, the little weakling on top wouldn't be able to escape from its palm. It would be good to eat some first, so it lowered its head and started to eat the corpses of the demon beasts. Seeing this, Yun Chujio unhesitatingly released the vines and climbed down the cliff at a high speed. The poison-striped double-tailed python was stunned. How could this weak human chicken be better at climbing than the pythons? The cliff was very steep. How did she climb down so quickly? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.